Hi, welcome to Dungeon Wives. I'm your Dungeon Master, Mackenzie.
And I'm your PC, Rachel.
Yeah. And welcome to this episode of Dungeon Wives, where we're going to go on some dungeon dives.
With Dungeon Wives.
With Dungeon Wives. Before we get going into the story, I want to get to know a little bit about who you're playing. You're doing a little dance. You're doing a little jig. You're hitting your laptop with your arms. So, yeah, give me just a little bit of, like, give me, you know, her names are, well, her, I guess. I'm giving the pronouns away. Her names, her pronouns, and anything else you want to talk about before we get going with this character.
Yeah, all right. My character's name is Alkyone, she, her, hers. She's a tiefling druid, Circle of the Moon. She has kind of light lavender skin and dark purple hair. It's like your first D&D character, only she's like my 20th, where you stopped caring about if your D&D characters are like the right kind of Lord of the Rings character, and now we're just back to like what I always wanted to be when I was little. Where like it starts dark purple at the roots and then fades to a lighter purple as you go down. She's very long, bushy hair. She has kind of ram's horns, and she likes to put little necklaces on them. She's a little magpie, right? She likes shiny things. So she's got her little crystal necklaces, and she wears very flowy clothing. And she is from a tiefling commune, a matriarchal tiefling commune out in the woods. She has like 20 moms and a bunch of siblings, and they just kind of like, they're just a family, right? So they have their own fun dysfunctions, and then they also have like these great things about them that she loves very much that we can get into as Alkyone opens up over the course of her journey.
Yeah, maybe we go meet them. We don't know.
We do. One of her 20 moms, or all 20 of her moms. I love them all individually.
I'm excited to play every single one.
Every single one at the same time.
Yep.
They're not all tieflings.
Okay.
But it's just kind of like just a group of people who are like, maybe we should just live in the woods.
Yeah.
And I respect that so much as someone who could never live in the woods. She has been sent out by kind of, there aren't any like quote unquote leaders. Everybody kind of takes collective responsibility in this commune, but some people have more responsible leaderly personalities than others, and those moms kind of sent her out in the world and were like, you need to go see what's out there. You can come back. We're not banishing you, but it is time for you to go out and see some of the world and learn about who you are and about what you want outside of our interests and our needs, because you're a separate individual and we love you very much.
You're on your Rumspringa.
My Rumspringa!
Okay, yeah.
So she's a little naive. She's very sweet. She's a little bit of a stoner, in the sense that, does she do any kind of fantasy weed? Probably not, but she just kind of talks like this.
She's chill. She's a dangerously chill person.
She's dangerously chill. She's been an older sister to so many small creatures. There's very little you can do to throw her off her game. Is she super bright? Not all the time. Does she have a big heart? Absolutely.
I love this vocal fry I'm going to get from this character for the rest of my life.
The D&D game.
Yeah.
That's my part.
That's
and then
part.
The rest of it is you getting to take me into this world you created.
Oh, yeah. We are, for those of you who do not know, we are playing in an original campaign setting that I've been building, but we'll also be building as Rachel explores it.
Yeah.
More.
As Alkyone discovers it,
yeah.
So do we all.
But a lot of it is built already. I'm very excited about it. On our website, I will be posting a lot of world building stuff. So if you are ever curious about things like that, I'll give more details at the end of what specifically will go up. Sort of as the episodes uncover different aspects of the world, then I will put them on our website. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. So you're beginning in the town of city, really. It's a very major city called Baergo.
Ooh.
What do you think would have taken, this is like the southernmost city. Sort of in the kingdom. So the forest, the woods you belonged to, was the largest sort of wooded area on the whole continent. This giant forest called the Sun Star.
The only community in there.
No. There's like a major city actually in that, but it's a Sun Star forest. That's sort of where you grew up. The majority of the kingdom abides by the monarchy. There is a queen, but the forest is sort of its own like free area because there is a town that you would know very well called Malosa that...
Will you spell that?
It's like M and then the A with the little...
With the thing.
And then Losa. Malosa. And you would know about that. And they sort of fought for like the forest to sort of be its own area that doesn't really abide by the monarchy. Like it exists peacefully, but that's how your commune
it's
sort of...
its own territory.
Yeah, that's how your commune sort of has been able to live as freely as they do. But you journeyed... It's only maybe a month of travel south, but you went pretty far south. You went to the southmost city. What do you think would have maybe brought you here? There's a lot of cool things, maybe, that are there. There's the major cities in the kingdom of Sarenfell tend to be themed to a god or a goddess in the pantheon. Usually the birthplace of a god is in the major cities. And this city is dedicated to Irdione. Irdione. She is the goddess of knowledge. She's, I think Athena, she's Athena, basically. Every pantheon is rooted in all the same shit. So she's the, the all-knowing goddess. And there's this huge, beautiful, like 6-story library that is here. That's like its major sort of tourist attraction, I guess you could say. Also, it's just a bustling city. Other than the capital city, it would have been the closest large city to you. That could have been what brought you down.
Yeah, I think one of my moms has relatives here and was like, hey, just carry this letter for me.
Yeah, there you go.
As a pretext,
And so that's sort of what brought you down here, I guess. So that's sort of where you're at. It is a more deserty kind of city. It's right north of the Searing Sands, which is this just expansive desert that goes down into the southern part of the continent of Suneralis, which is the greater continent you live on. Are you looking at the map right now?
I am looking at the map.
Yeah, on our website we have a map of the Kingdom of Sarenfell, sort of where you're going to be existing. So you're probably in the southern part of the forest, and then you went south to Baergo. And that's sort of all the exposition, I guess, right? Do you have any other questions or anything?
No, I think I'm going to say for the sake of... Well, I'll leave that up to you. You're the DM. Have I delivered the letter to my mother's cousin yet or not?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Had a great time. They fed me.
Yeah, they fed you.
They're like, how's everybody doing? I was like, everyone's doing fine. Thanks for asking. And that was that.
Do you want to RP this thing from a week ago?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Cool. No doubt. All right. So
yeah, delivered the letter. Now I'm just here to see the town.
You were staying in a tavern called the Third Eye Tavern.
Oh, she loves it.
A lot of the stuff you would have noticed if you've been here. Let's say you've been here for a couple of weeks. You would have noticed that a lot of the stuff is very like third eye themed. A symbol of a third eye is all over the town. That is sort of like the symbol. Yeah, that's sort of her thing. Like her colors are very gold. Gold and copper, like a lot of like brassier metal colors are kind of her like color palette, I guess. And like eyes and books, all the usual. But this tavern is a pretty huge tavern in the north part of town called the Third Eye Tavern. And
cool.
We begin our adventure in the Third Eye Tavern. And the tavern's on fire.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
What do you want to do?
Well, I'm a tiefling. I do have fire
You're just going to sit in the tavern.
I'm going to finish my drink.
All right. I can give you I wanted to do that as a joke, but I can give you a detailed description of what's around you if you'd like.
Just feed me that chaos.
Would you like this? You'd like me to be a DM? Is that what you want me to do? Yeah, so you look around the Third Eye Tavern. Yeah, where would you have been? Would you have been having a drink? Would you have been in your room?
I think I would have been hanging out in the tavern area, kind of people watching. I've been away from the commune for about. We gotta find a better word than commune. It implies a lot of things. There's some.
Your home?
Yeah, like it's a home. It's not a village.
Just say I've been away from
like
home.
A collective community. I don't know.
You could say I've been away from my community, away from my home.
Yeah, away from my moms and all my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's pretty. It's still new and different. And this is the first place that I've settled for, not just passed through. So I would have been just people watching.
And it's one of those where it wasn't like a slow, like, oh, there's a little fire and now it's going to get bigger and we have time to react. It felt like this almost, you heard the rising sounds of chaos, and everyone in the tavern at the same time was sort of realizing something was happening outside. And almost before you knew it, you could hear this sounds of a mighty roar and wings flapping and yeah, and almost immediate. It wasn't a slow thing. It was like almost immediately a crash. Something hit the tavern and it erupted in flames, starting from the top down, and pieces of the ceiling began to fall and block the doorways, and people were kind of shot into chaos. And so you're looking around this tavern that was once, only moments ago, just a place of peace and drink, and with almost an instant the entire tavern has been almost engulfed from the top. Its aged structure is beginning to crumble. People are sort of trying to find other exits because the front door, a big piece of beam from like the ceiling has crashed and is burning in front of the front door. There is a back door that people seem to be trying to pile out of. There is some people are running up the stairs, maybe to go to windows or things. There's not that many people, but there's enough. But you also see that some people have been caught in the crossfires. There is a barmaid who is still over by the bar, who is trying to pry her leg out from underneath a piece of beam that very quickly fell on top of her. You would have known her as Clarissa. You've gotten to know her over the last couple of weeks. She's just sort of a sweet elven woman who works here. Obviously the door is being covered. You see a young man that was coming down the stairs as this happened, who is now fallen off the stairs, and his arm's hurting, and he has glass sort of in his face because the window right by the stairwell has burst open. There's people that aren't quite able to begin making their way out. What do you want to do?
I don't have any spells that will be good for this.
They're not dying. They're just stuck. They're still.
I know, this is way above my pay grade, my man. Already, here we go. I mean, are people trying to unblock the door currently? Are there people?
There was like two
making
people.
Any headway?
There was two people that tried to go do it, but because there's flames like licking off of what it was.
Okay.
They tried to, and then they got burned immediately. And it's heavy. It's a pretty big beam. It was like one that went right above the door, and was a big proponent of the ceiling staying up.
I'm so glad that I dumped all my bad scores into strength. This is paying off already.
Hey, there's other ways out.
This is true. I am fire resistant, so I'm not quite as worried about
You
flames.
still take damage. You just take less damage.
Just less damage, and that's we're focusing on the positives.
Okay.
I guess I'm gonna try to help Clarissa.
Okay.
What's up, Clarissa?
Do you just casually walk over and go, "What's up, Clarissa?"
No, I'm just gonna run over and kind of, because she's pinned, right?
Yeah, she got pinned like a piece of wood that, and then also sort of like a shelf that had like alcohol on it, fell down, and she doesn't look like hurt. She just looks like she also used strength as her dump stat and can't quite get herself out from underneath this piece of wood shelf situation.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and help her out. I'm gonna run over and try and free her.
Okay. Well, then what are you gonna do? You strength, I guess. Just gonna try to lift it up, or are you trying to pull her? How are you?
If I pull her, what if I pull something out of joint? I don't know.
Then you have an arm. You have a
no.
person's arm.
Well, that's not something I'm gonna be able to use later.
Roll a strength check.
Okay, strength check.
I'm sorry that I'm doing this to you.
First roll. Here we go. Don't. All right. Okay. Now that isn't. I do have to to subtract
Okay.
a point, but that's still a solid 14.
That's enough. And you can even look at my notes. I wrote DC 13, baby.
Ooh,
Yeah.
spicy.
So you run over and you see her. She looks panicked when you're running over, and
Understandably
she's
so.
trying to sort of like wave you away, like get yourself out. And she's like, no, you don't have to do this. It's fine. And you run over anyway, and you sort of just kind of grab around where it is, and kind of it's sort of a very quick, just like up,
Yeah.
and she's able to sort of scoot herself out from underneath, and she's panting and coughing. She's beginning to cough a lot, and she kind of she hugs you very tightly, and she says, "Thank you."
Hey, that's really nice. We should probably go, though.
I know. Where do we go?
It
And then
looks like the front door's blocked. I would suggest maybe the back door is our better. Let's go.
Okay, well, and she points over at the young man, and she says, "Oh no,
Oh no, I forgot about him.
Yeah,
oh,
and
no.
then she runs over to him.
This is like the worst part in Dragon Age, where it's like, here's a villager to save, here's another villager to save. If you don't save them, you're going to feel very bad.
So she runs over to this young man.
Cool.
And she yells, "James, no!" And James is getting up, and he just has sort of like glass sticking out of pieces, and so she starts kind of pulling out the pieces of glass, and he seems to be reassuring her that he's okay. He's cradling his arm in a way, but she's pulling out the little pieces of glass and coughing, and there's a voice from up the stairs. There's like a staircase right behind it, and it's sort of a man's voice, and he's like, "Found a place to jump up here if you need an exit," and he runs away. I don't know why everyone's like fucking Irish. I don't know why. So
The what was more in reference to like, we're not gonna jump out. How? It's just a story, right? But that's still.
it is, yeah. So but just me, I'm just giving you options.
Thank you, for
can
these options.
you can go out the back, or you can go out upstairs and see what he's talking about, if that's even still there. But Clarissa sort of walks James over to you and says, What way should we go
I
out?"
really do think the back doors are going to be our best bet. Let's head that way, and if something else opens up, sure, but we got to get out of here.
Okay.
I don't think we want to be up high right now.
Okay, I'm following
Let's go.
And so
we're running.
yeah,
We're
and
running. We're getting out.
You're running. So you go out to the back, and you go back into this like sort of storeroom that hasn't been totally engulfed yet, and you see that there's someone who was a patron who was in the bar, who is laying by where the door was and holding their stomach, and there's blood seeping out through their fingers, and
I don't have any healing spells because you said my companion was going to be a cleric, so I thought it would be fine not to prepare any of those.
maybe you'll get that eventually. Maybe not every person has to survive.
Oh no. She's a baby.
I know. And this person looks up. They say, "Oh, save yourself." And this like, you see that like there's something like trying to pull the door closed. Like the door's not fully closing, and you almost roll a perception check.
Okay. Can dragons do that? Can they shut
I'm
doors?
not saying it's a dragon.
Uh-oh. Oh, Oh, it's not awful. That's a solid 14 again.
There you go. Yeah, so like there's something blocking. I think something like above the door is sort of stopping whoever's closing this door from doing it. But they like, you see sort of like the door opens a little bit, and like a black metal armored hand sort of reaches up to try to fix like what's wrong with the door closing. When they hear the person that says to you, "Save yourself," they like the foot, like a black armored foot that like matches the hand, kicks the person because they're right against the door, and they kick the person out of the way and try to slam this door shut. So they're trying to close this way out. Are you going to try to do anything about it or find a different way?
I'm gonna cast It's really fun. It's Shillelagh?
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 Shillelagh.
Shillelagh, to match all the Irish accents.
Yeah, please. All these random in this sandy southern town. Everyone's Irish, apparently.
Yeah, and what that does is it's a bonus action, and it will take the wood of a club or quarterstaff you're holding is imbued with nature's power. For the duration, you can use your spellcasting ability instead of strength for the attack and damage rolls of melee attacks using that weapon, and the weapon's damage die becomes a D8.
Yes. So now if you go to hit it, you are
I'm not using strength.
You're attacking
I'm
with
using
your
something that is better.
Spellcasting modifier, which is on your spell area.
Spell attack, right?
And then it's a D8 plus wisdom for you now.
Nice.
So you cast that.
I'm just prepping.
Well, they're closing the door. They're not coming in.
And
They're
then
they're outside the door trying to close it.
Okay, I will start pulling back, and I will hopefully kind of indicate to Florissa that if she's not too busy with James, let's get this door open.
Okay, so you're trying to open the door.
Yeah. What an asshole. Absolutely not.
And so I will not lie. Unless you're doing some creative thing with your quarterstaff, it's more for melee attacks. You're still gonna have to use strength to like open the door.
Yeah, no,
but
for sure.
if Florissa helps you, can have advantage on the strength check too, and it'll be a contested strength because you're pushing you're pulling against, and this person is not going to be expecting you to expecting anyone to be here. So we're gonna do a contested strength contest.
And I get advantage, so I can drop 2.
Yes, you drop. Yeah, roll 2, and you take the highest because Florissa's gonna help you pull the door open.
All right, here we go. Shall we all roll at once?
You roll and then I'll roll. I don't want our dice to hit each other.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Ooh.
What is that?
That's a 19 plus 4. So I rolled a 23.
So we can't get this door open.
No, yeah. So you go to pull, and you and Florissa, what did you roll, actually?
A 14.
14? Okay. You're rolling a lot of 14s.
That's the name of the game. Episode 1.
Episode
14.
1. 14, yeah. So you go to pull it open, and you get a little bit of leeway, and you see this sort of like black armored, like it's like a full plate suit, all black. The eyes are almost this sort of just like black smoke. You don't even see that there's like a person in there. Look back at you and kind of grunt in anger as it rips the door back closed, and you hear sort of like a shh, like maybe they put something and they've locked the door.
So we have to go upstairs now.
That wasn't the intention. Like I said, I'm trying to give you options.
Okay.
You can break the door down, maybe. I don't.
This is my strength.
This is your decision. This is your world.
How is stomach wound person doing?
Roll a medicine check.
Okay. I'll roll a medicine. There's not a whole lot I can do at the. That's an 8.
They might be dead.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, because like they got kicked and now they're laying sort of on their side, and you can see that like where they were clutching at their stomach, like there's like an identical wound in the back. So whatever happened, they were like skewered, and there's nothing in them, so it was probably a stab and pull out, but like they were probably skewered, and they're probably a little too far gone.
Okay. Well.
But if you think, you're a wise person, right? A lot of people came out the back, and the fact that there's only one person in here means that maybe the others probably got away or got out, at least.
Is this supposed to make me feel better for the first death of the campaign?
Sure. This random person in the back room who died.
They probably sacrificed themselves. It wasn't in vain.
We'll do a mini-sode that's just this,
them.
that person and
Just
their sacrifice in the storeroom of this tavern.
Okay. Thanks, Nameless. First casualty. Ooh, I'm gonna turn to Florissa and be like, "This way's a no-go. Let's up the stairs. Let's go."
Okay. And
there's
so
someone out there. As we're running, we're not gonna stand and talk in the burning cabin.
Yes, things like this don't just happen. There's got to be someone, right? Of course.
That makes a lot of sense.
So you walk up the stairs, and it's a pretty it's like a big tavern, so you walk upstairs and there's just like one long hallway that has a bunch of rooms on the right, like including your room. I feel like you traveled light unless you want to go grab things.
No,
you
definitely
can
traveled
assume
light.
the things, just logistically, the things that are in your...
I didn't take any valuables. The most valuable thing I brought was like a package or whatever for my mom's cousin in the letter.
And just assume that like anything in your D&D inventory you just have on you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't feel like you have to.
I got a little backpack.
But there's multiple like large windows against the left side of the hallway, which is probably where people were getting out of.
Getting out. Okay, so they're open. Are people still there, or is
No.
everybody cleared out?
It's all cleared.
All right, let's run to the windows and see what's out there.
Okay, so you run to the windows and you see that you look down and yeah, it's pretty short. Like, it's not too terribly tall. Like, I think you might be jumping down, like, counting for like ceilings and then like how high the window is, maybe like 15 feet, which is
Not awful.
not awful, but it's still feet. And
Yeah.
but there's a little bit of like kind of hay-ish stuff in the back, so it can probably break your fall a little bit. There's no one down there right now. It's like basically there's like where you're looking at, there's a small alley because there's another building, a one-story building directly across, and so like it's a little bit of an alley, so
Okay.
you'd be falling into sort of a more hidden place.
Okay, let's go.
Alright.
I'm gonna indicate to Florissa that she and James should go first. I'll kind of keep an eye on the hallway and presumably the sky as well.
Okay. Yeah, so James with his like basically broken arm
Sorry,
looks
bud.
down and he's like, oh, okay.
Hey man, you can do it.
Thanks. Okay. That's what his voice was, but he
We're both very like, all right, okay.
he
Oh boy.
he jumps down. He rolled a natural 20.
Oh, good for
So
him.
he jumps down. He used to do a lot of sports things, and so he jumps down and he's able to. Let's just say he lands on his feet. That's a natural 20. He like he's able to
Whoa.
like.
Does he do like the superhero like
superhero? Yeah, so he jumps down.
with his not broken arm?
Yeah, with his not broken arm, he jumps down, or he's able to sort of. He used to do parkour.
He's Spider-Man.
So he sort of like he kind of jumps off, and then like he's able to sort of drop down and hold onto the windowsill,
Oh,
and then
nice.
like drop down and grab onto like a notch on the wall, and so he's able to kind of drop himself down, and he looks up and at Florissa, and she's gonna go. She's gonna try to aim for like the little hay area, and she rolled okay. She jumps down into the hay and hits her head a little bit on the other building.
No.
And I don't know. I'll roll for the damage, I guess. She takes like a tiny, tiny bit of damage. She takes like 1 point of damage.
Good.
Yeah, she's
We're
fine.
doing good. Only one casualty so far. We're
It's
doing
not
great.
too high. Like, it's not too high. And then how do you want to get yourself down? And then they look up and they say, Florissa says, I'm going to run around back and find the others. So she says that to you.
That's good.
And she takes James and her and him run back. And so, how do you want to get down?
I mean, I'm jumping. It's the option I have right now.
Yeah,
so
are you aiming for like the hay, or are you aiming for just the ground?
I'm aiming for the hay. I think
Okay.
at this point.
Sure. Then roll a acrobatics,
Acrobatics,
dex?
yeah.
Something
Whichever.
like that.
Okay.
Whatever's better for you.
They're the same. So
Yeah, roll then a d20 and add whatever those numbers are.
All right,
Oh.
that's an 18.
Yeah. So you're able to jump and sort of turn midair, so your back is what lands sort of in the hay, and you learn from Florissa.
Tucked my head.
You tucked your head because you realize it's a little close, and you kind of land in the hay, and you're almost like engulfed by it a little bit, and you don't take any damage. You did good. And what do you want to do now?
I'm gonna run to the front of the tavern and see if we can maybe get the door open from the other side.
Okay, the front, the you were running in the back room, so you're running to the front where it was like.
Yeah, she's like a baby.
Okay. So yeah, you're running to the front.
Also,
and
like, am I seeing anything? Is the roaring, flapping fire thing around? Do I
what
see
could that
any,
roaring,
like,
flapping fire thing be?
Gee, I don't know.
Roll real quick. As you're running to the front, roll perception.
Okay. What was that roll for?
You'll find out.
Uh-oh. I'm a little distracted currently, so
Yeah.
that's a 9.
So yeah, and I rolled very high. So you
Did they see me?
No, I rolled for
Okay.
something else. I'm being nice. I'm being nice boy right now. So you run up to the front of the tavern, and you're like about to take a step out to like to go out, sort of like out of the alleyway. You feel the back of your like dress get yanked and pull you back and kind of not slam you hard, but pull you against the wall. And you look to see who, not yet,
Oh man.
You look to see who did this to you, and you see this like sort of tall human woman who's in this like gorgeous like gold chainmail with like an eye like emblazoned on her chest.
You're Danny, yeah.
She has thick like dark brown hair that's sort of a swoopy and like pulled back in a tight braid, and she has a very like
kind of aquiline, but with more of a curve.
Yeah, and like
Love
she has a very like very intense nose and thick like furrowed brows and like sort of almond shaped brown eyes and thin lips and like a very just like angular jawline.
So like very, very hot lady in armor.
Yes,
is where we're
and
going.
she pulls you back. She looks at you in this like intense angry stare. She holds her hands up and she has sort of these like, it's like this you know those cool like metal gloves that like are like just like the pieces of metal that like go across your fingers and they like connect at the knuckle.
Does
you
it
know?
start with a G?
I have no clue.
Is it a gauntlet?
No, not a gauntlet. Like they're not gloves. They're just, it's literally like thin. What you see is sort of like, it's just like thin like lines of metal that go up her hands and stop. They like have little dots at her knuckles and then they go up her fingers.
Okay, yeah.
She sort of has just like these, and she looks at you at this like intensity and she like makes motions with her hands, and then in your head you hear like a voice that it feels like it would belong to her.
Okay.
And she says, "What do you think you're doing?"
It's on fire and there are people in there. Should we? Are
and
you an authority?
She makes signs again and she says, they're right out there. Be quiet. And she holds your chest and pulls it in like, and kind of makes you push. She tries to push you back into the alley a little bit more.
Who is out there? Who are you talking about?
Them. And
That's
roll
not...
perception again with advantage because she's trying to point this out to you.
Okay.
And just whenever she speaks, just assume she is signing it to you, and then you hear it in your head.
And to be clear, is she reading my lips or can she hear me?
She's reading your lips.
Okay.
If she's making sure she can see you, and she's reading your lips as she speaks to you.
Okay, cool.
She's done it for a long time. So.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna assume then that Alkyone picks up on that and like is making an effort then to make sure that this person can always see her mouth.
Yeah, unless Alkyone has a reason to speak sign language. I don't. Which
no,
yeah,
she doesn't.
That's fine. She can
learn.
She can read your lips.
We're having a bad day. All right, it's a really bad day for Alkyone.
I gave you advantage, and
I rolled a 4 and a 1.
Yeah. So
we're not even gonna add things to that. Let's just let it stand.
So, but add things because it's not a hard DC because it's not something. No, genuinely, this is
I mean, I do have +3, so that 4 then becomes a 7.
Yeah, like it takes you a second, and you're like, "What the fuck are you talking about, man?" And maybe you don't hear them coming, but at a certain point, you can't help but see. There's she pulls you back a little bit further, and hides you a little bit behind where the hay was, and holds on to you so that you don't move. And she says, she signs, "Stay still." And you see this sort of exodus march of like the same black armored individuals that you saw. There's not that many of them. There's probably like 8, but they're walking like in pairs side by side, just sort of stomping through the front part of the just going in front of the tavern on the they don't seem to be going to the tavern, but they're just walking by it, and you can see now in the alleyway. And in the rear there is like one who looks a little bit bigger, and he's on this.
Is it our guy?
Hmm?
Was it Block the Doorman?
No, the Block the Doorman looked more like the normal guys that are like
I'm gonna find him.
stomping. That one specific guy. And
he killed my unnamed friend.
And he looks a little bit more intense. His armor is a little bit more extensive. Because you're also low on perception, though, you can't.
I don't know
I don't know anything.
There's something about that armor. You can see there's a symbol, sort of like maybe like where hers is, but you can't tell what it is from back here because you're not
I'm
you're
like
Dione,
submerged in hay and like very upset and.
You can
As
tell.
I've stated a few times, a baby.
Yes, but you can tell that maybe there's a symbol, there's some sort of iconography on the armor, but you can't tell what it is because that's what the low perception check is. But they pass by, and also the leader looking one is on this sort of like horse that looks made of just like bones and smoke. Like it's like a ghostly apparition of a horse.
That's cool as shit. I know he's a bad guy, but that's very much my aesthetic.
That is your aesthetic. And so they stomp by to where you can't see them anymore. And then this woman turns to you and she signs, "Is there anyone left in there? Is everyone out?"
I don't know. I got 2 people out. That's all I know.
Did you see anyone else?
There
when
were
you-
people trying to get out the front door, which is why I was kind of hoping to... I can do magic. I could maybe push some stuff out of the way from the other side, but I didn't
the
want to
people
hurt
that were
anybody
trying to
in
get out
there.
the front, they ended up leaving out the back.
Oh,
Just FYI.
that's good to know.
Yes.
Then
So they're not like
I said
actively
none
still
of that,
trying.
and I said we all jumped out the windows. I don't know.
Okay. And then and she says, "So they are safe? Maybe? Going
I
to
don't know.
safety?
Are you looking for someone?
Come with me. I'll keep you safe." And so then she sort of takes your hand and pulls you and sort of is trying to lead you to back where you were trying to exit the first time. And she looks around to make sure that they've like fully passed, and she rolled really, really well. And so she looks and she sees that they're going off to the left and then turning right, and she signs to you. "It's a small group, but they're deadly. I'm avoiding them. We must avoid them.
Who are they?
We don't know yet, but we are getting citizens to the Copper Crest. So come with me."
To the what?
The Copper Crest, which you would have heard of. It's like it's like a castle almost, but
Okay.
it's in the southernmost part of the city, and it is where the leader of this town resides. You've been here for a little bit. You would know that there's a woman named Lady Dianastre.
Lady Dianastre.
Yes, you don't know her first name necessarily, but she resides here. She is the cousin of the queen, and a huge reason why this is such a major city is because she lives here and she sort of just keeps things in check. She's the leader, the de facto leader of this town, and she has this beautiful home right next to the Searing Sands that's called the Copper Crest, and it is that because it is this glistening copper building that is huge and grandiose and is beautiful. And this woman tells you that they're taking citizens there for safety. And you sort of stand here in this heat, and you feel the heat of the sun combined with the heat of the flames that are like licking off the building next to you. And and you do see people running sort of in the opposite direction of where the guys came. And so she turns to you and she says, "I need you to make a decision. We have multiple ways to go south. Should we go through the marketplace or through the homes? The marketplace is going to be more dangerous but might be quicker. But the homes will be slower, but
We could save more people.
maybe. I'm hoping people are evacuating completely, but we need to get to the Copper Crest as quickly as possible, but I don't want to take you through the marketplace if it makes you feel unsafe. We can go through the residential area.
Through the suburbs.
Through the suburbs. We can go over to Glencoe." And she
Cool.
sort of signs all this to you.
Don't have a lot of time. I'm gonna cast Enhance Ability.
Okay.
Let's see. What do I want? I'm gonna cast Bull Strength on myself.
Okay.
I'm the creature I'm touching. I'm bestowing upon myself a magical enhancement. Bull Strength. I have advantage on strength checks now, and my carrying capacity doubles.
Okay.
Let's go.
Marketplace it is.
You go in the marketplace way?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alrighty. So you're going to be cutting east. So you're going south, cutting east, and then hitting south again is sort of the way. So you head south and you cut east and make your way quickly to the marketplace. You're being safe to duck into alleyways if you feel these sort of like black coated knights are coming near, but there seem to be, it is a small battalion of them. But there are a few that are still locking up homes, trying to keep people in as
What?
they are setting the houses on fire. And
What? We should have gone through the homes. No.
people are evacuating. People are actively running, so you're running by people and people.
Chaos.
And I'm trying to think, because people will know she is. So you sort of, I assume it's a little too chaotic. You don't really ask her name, but people, there's other citizens that are running to get to the Copper Crest, and when they see her, it seems like their faces like light up, like they see hope when they see this woman, and you don't even know who she is. Like you haven't necessarily seen her around, but people run up to her and hold on to her, and they look her in her face and ask where to go, and she tells them, she signs to them to go to the Copper Crest, and they all call her sister. They always say, "Thank you, sister, thank you," as they run away. And so you don't necessarily know her name, but she's being called sister by a bunch of people. And as you near the marketplace, you see that there's all these like you're coming to see all these sort of stalls. Some of them are broken, some of them are just burned to ash at this point. And you see like sort of where you would assume the middle is just like a thick stream of black smoke sort of piling out from the center. And I assume you're probably going to want to be sneaky in this area, unless you're just like running through the marketplace.
I'm definitely following this sister's lead.
Okay. She will try to be sneaky because she sees the thick stream of smoke and she assumes someone is causing it.
Yeah.
And so as you near, she sort of ducks behind one of the stalls and is going to stealth a little bit. So if you're following suit, then you should also roll a stealth check. And it should be noted, that's a really bad stealth check. It should be noted that you heard like did you also roll really bad?
It's not awful.
What
it's
is
a
it?
9, so it's only slightly below.
Oh, and she's Dexy, so she also got a 9 actually. So you both rolled 9s for your stealth, which is okay. Which is a thing.
Which is okay.
It should be noted that you heard like a creature and clearly something is happening, but you haven't heard that creature again since you've been running. And
right.
If you're looking to the sky, you don't see anything right now.
I'm gonna assume it's a dragon. I'm gonna have Alkyone
You can
assume
it's a dragon. You don't see a dragon. As you've been flying around, you have not seen one yet. So who knows what it is. And so you two duck behind a stall. And she's sort of doing that thing where it's sort of like check, we run to another stall. Check around, we run to, you're trying to kind of stick behind stalls. And
do I need to make another stealth roll?
no, we're going to keep, unless you're doing something different,
No.
that's going to be your stealth roll. You were combined, so it's not the worst you could have done. Together you rolled an 18, but like I said, that's not the worst. And so you're making your way through, and then roll a perception check as you get closer to the middle.
All right. Okay. That is an 18.
As you get closer to the middle of the marketplace, you see sort of where the thick black smoke is coming from, and you see a lot of these like black knighted individuals that are standing there, and they seem to be building like a bonfire almost in the middle of town, and they're like taking the pieces of the stalls that weren't necessarily burnt. Well, it's only 2 of them. There's not that many in this thing, and they're like breaking it apart with their feet and throwing them into this sort of like bonfire, just meticulously going and burning the entirety of this marketplace. And you see that they're working on one stall that is sort of in the direction you're going. So they're going back and forth between the bonfire thing they're building and this one stall. But you also see that the next in line that they're going to move to, there's
ours or the one ahead of us.
It's a couple ahead, but there is a young woman.
Oh no.
She's ducked behind. She's inside the stall almost with her feet to her chest, and she's just sitting there like staring at the ground. And she's sweating, and she's looking, and I think when their feet sort of near her, you see her tense up, but they're still working on ripping apart the kind of stall that is next to her, but you can see her just like clutching and tensing and waiting for the moment when they come for her stall, and she's looking around trying to find any way to get away without being seen, but she seems at a loss. She seems panicked. She's fighting tears, and she's just sort of clutching her knees to her chest. And you haven't seen anyone else in this marketplace. She's the only person you've seen. She might have been the only one that wasn't able to get out before they started kind of meticulously. She maybe survived a sweep they did, and or was hidden well enough, but now she's stuck. What do you want to do?
Okay. I'm gonna cast Thunderwave.
Okay. How does that doesn't that come from you? Or did everyone decide that we were reading that spell wrong?
What it says is a wave of thunderous force sweeps out from you.
So
Each creature in a 15-foot cube or originating from you must make a Constitution saving throw. So yes, it would.
they're not near you.
Oh, how far away are we?
Let's say like you're like 40-ish, 45 feet away, and so the only person around you would be the woman sister whose name you don't know, and a stall that you're hiding behind. Yeah, so because I love you, I'm gonna tell you that's probably not a good idea.
Okay, then can she see us? Can we like, hey?
Are you trying to get her attention? How are you?
Yeah.
How are you doing that?
I mean, I'm purple. I'm purple, and I'm gonna go.
That can't always be
"Hey."
your excuse.
I'm just saying, it's
Let me
hilarious to me that
roll.
we're being stealthy, or I'm like a bright purple being.
She rolled really low. We're rolling on the same dice tray. I rolled a 3.
This is true.
So you wave, and she is so raptured in fear. She does not really look up. She's almost closing her eyes fully to try to just like brace herself for the death she thinks she's about to experience.
And how far away is she?
Like let's say like 35, 40ish feet away. Like she's about, let's say she's like 2 stalls away. It's like your stall, 2 stalls, and then hers. And then it's like the one that they're breaking apart, they're looting, and they're burning. And they're almost done with it, which means they'll be moving on to the next one.
Okay, so I'm gonna look to sister and like to the sister and indicate that we should move forward and grab her. Yes?
She looks and she nods her head and she signs, and you hear, yes, we need to avoid engagement with these knights, but they don't know how. We can engage. Are you a fighter?
No, but I have magic. If that helps. Yes.
We can, if you would like to, but
Okay.
we can also... we can try to sneak as well.
Let's try and get closer to her.
Okay, so roll another stealth check then. You have to move 2 stalls before you can get to her, really. Or like there's 2 stalls
So
and then
2
hers.
stealth starks.
Yeah.
Mother. It's a 10.
You don't know her name, Katerina. She rolled a 19.
Okay.
So she sort of leads the way and deftly, you roll a 10. She sort of deftly like gets behind the second one, ushers you forward, and as you're going to hit the second one, she gets there pretty well. And then if I wasn't a DM, I have to roll to see if they... Yeah. So
So they see us.
they see you, probably.
Yeah.
Again,
Again,
I'm
I'm purple. I'm an entirely purple being.
Yeah, I rolled 18 for these knights. So she in that, which only just is right below Katerina's score. So she's able to get to the second stall, and at this point the young woman looks up and sees her and lights up this scared but hopeful smile at Katerina. And Katerina, you see her nodding her head, and you get so excited. You're like, yes, we're gonna save this woman. You're going to sneak up behind and join Katerina, and your dress snags on the wood of the stall that you're moving from behind, and it makes this ripping noise that you hear the sort of plate of the metal of these knights shoot and like look over at you, and you make eye contact, ? You can't really see eyes, but you make eye contact with these knights. What do you do?
How far away are they now?
They're probably just at the edge of 15 feet away from you. 15, 20 feet-ish. But I'm telling you, if you do Thunderwave, Katarina's also right there too.
I want to do Thunderwave so bad.
Then run over to them. You have to get out of the range because Katarina's gonna...
Katarina, I trust that she knows that I'm a baby and can take care of myself.
Okay, well, if you're gonna engage, then let's roll initiative.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Dungeon Wives. Once again, I'm Mackenzie.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm so glad you listened to this episode of our podcast. If you want to connect with us, you can find us at dungeonwives.com or email us at dungeonwives@gmail.com. But we're definitely on social media at Dungeon Wives on Twitter and Instagram. Please, let us know what you think. Leave a review. That would
be awesome.
Yeah, if you listen on iTunes or Spotify or whatever, wherever you leave reviews.
5 out of 5 wives.
5 out of 5 wives. Give us some wife ratings. And if you want to support us financially a little bit and donate to the podcast so that we can invest in it a little bit more, you can find us on Ko-fi, kofi.com/dungeonwives. I think those are all of our social medias.
Yep.
And if you want sort of a little bit more about the world and about the podcast on our website, dungeonwives.com, with every episode, I will be posting fun world building stuff. I already have a map of the kingdom of Sarenfell up. I'm going to be putting up some information about Baergo. I'm going to have character sheets for Sister Katarina and other major NPCs. Just a lot of fun stuff. So make sure you check up our website. More things will be going up with every episode, and I think that's it.
Yeah, we'll catch you on the flip side.
Is that our sign off?
We'll figure it out.
We gotta figure out a sign off. Hey, honey.
Yeah.
I love you.
Hey, honey.
Yeah.
I love you.
Thanks for playing D&D with me.
Thanks for DMing.
No, I
natural
love
20.
You. I love you.
Natural 20.
Hey, our love is a natural 20.
Wow, that's almost word for word the first
That's card I gave you. Don't drag me. Okay.